The sky over Washington, D.C. turned strange that Tuesday morning. Strange lights appeared, hovering above the city. They were not airplanes or weather balloons. They were something else. Major John Carter stood outside the Pentagon, looking up at the lights with narrowed eyes. His phone rang. It was General Howard. "Carter, get to the White House now. They're here." John didn't need to ask who they were. Humanity had been searching the stars for signs of alien life for decades. Now it seemed the aliens had found them first. 2 hours later, John sat in a crowded meeting room as the president addressed the gathered military and scientific experts. The aliens called themselves the Caldari. They looked like tall, thin lizards that walked on 2 legs. Their scales shimmered with blues and greens under the conference room lights. "This is Ambassador Xethrak," the president said, gesturing to the tallest Caldari. Xethrak stepped forward. His voice sounded like stones sliding together. "We come in peace. We wish to learn about humans." Laura Collins, seated next to John, leaned forward. As the nation's top xenobiologist, she had been called in to help understand these visitors. "What exactly do you want to learn?" Laura asked. The alien tilted his head. "Everything. Your biology. Your culture. You're young." John felt uneasy. Something about the way the alien said, "You're young," made his skin crawl. Over the next week, the Caldari met with world leaders. They offered knowledge and technology. They seemed peaceful. Their massive ship hung in orbit, a constant reminder of their advanced technology. Then came their unusual request. "We propose a cultural exchange," Xethrak announced during a UN meeting. "We wish to bring 50 of your children to our ship for education. They will learn our ways, and we will learn how humans develop." The room erupted in protests. John stood up. "That's out of the question," he said firmly. But the Caldari were clever. They spoke to each nation separately. They promised special technology to countries that participated. They insisted it would be safe. The children would stay in orbit above Earth. Parents could video call them daily. John argued against it in every meeting. "We don't know enough about them," he insisted. Laura agreed. "Their biology, psychology, everything is alien to us. This is too risky." But the promise of alien technology was too tempting. One by one, world leaders agreed. 50 families volunteered their children, ages 8 to 12, for what the media called the opportunity of a lifetime. The day the children boarded the shuttle to the Caldari ship, John watched from the launch pad, his jaw tight with anger. A young girl with blonde hair waved excitedly from the shuttle window. Her name was Samantha Miller, age 9. John waved back, forcing a smile. "I still think this is a mistake," he said to Laura, who stood beside him. "I know," she replied, "but we'll be monitoring everything. The children will have daily video calls with their parents. At the first sign of trouble, we'll bring them home." For 3 days, everything seemed fine. The children called home, talking excitedly about the wonders they were seeing on the alien ship. They were learning alien words, eating alien food that tasted like candy, seeing the Earth from space. Then on the 4th day, the calls stopped. Earth's communication centers tried to contact the Caldari ship. There was no response. Hours turned into a day. Panicked parents demanded answers. Military vessels were put on high alert. On the 6th day, John was called to an emergency meeting. The president's face was grim. "We've lost all contact with the Caldari ship," he said. "All attempts at communication have failed." Laura pulled up satellite images on the main screen. "The ship has changed position. It's facing away from Earth now." John felt cold dread washing over him. They're preparing to leave. The next morning, the Caldari ship was gone, along with 50 Earth children. And humanity's first contact with aliens had just become humanity's first interstellar war. 1 week after the Caldari ship vanished, the world was in chaos. Parents of the missing children held daily protests outside government buildings. News channels showed nothing but the faces of the 50 missing children and angry people demanding answers. John Carter sat in a dark room at the Pentagon, his eyes red from lack of sleep. Screens around him showed space tracking data. He had been searching for any sign of the alien ship for 7 days straight. Laura Collins entered, carrying 2 cups of coffee. She handed one to John. "Any luck?" she asked. John shook his head. "Nothing. It's like they just disappeared." Laura sat down next to him. "I might have something," she said. She opened her laptop and showed him a file. "This is a partial transmission we recovered from the Caldari ship right before it left. Our computers finally decoded it." The screen showed alien text with a rough translation below. "Specimens acquired. Returning to Hexarchy space with samples. Humans show promising adaptability traits as predicted." John read it twice. "Specimens. They called our children specimens." His hand tightened around his coffee cup until his knuckles turned white. "There's more," Laura said. "Look at this part about Hexarchy space. The Caldari never mentioned being part of any Hexarchy." "They lied about everything," John said. "They were never here for peaceful contact. They were scouts." An alarm sounded on one of the screens. A message from the president. "Emergency meeting in 1 hour." The meeting room was packed with military leaders from around the world. For the first time in history, all major powers were united by a common enemy. The president looked grim. "As of this moment, Earth is at war with the Caldari and any other alien civilization associated with them. We will get our children back." A general stood up. "Sir, with all due respect, how? Their technology is far beyond ours. We don't even know where they went." "That's not entirely true," said a new voice. Everyone turned. A man in a lab coat walked in. This was Dr. Alan West, head of the secret space defense program. "For 30 years, we've been preparing for this possibility," Dr. West explained. "After the first credible UFO sightings in the 1950s, world governments quietly began developing space defense technology." He pressed a button, and a hologram appeared showing a massive ship hidden inside an asteroid in the belt. "This is the UES Retribution," Dr. West said. "The first of Earth's deep space warships. We have 5 more nearly complete. They use conventional and theoretical propulsion systems we've been developing in secret." The room was silent with shock. "How soon can they be ready?" the president asked. "The Retribution can launch in 2 weeks. The others will take another 5 months." The president nodded. "Get them ready." He turned to John. "Major Carter, you're now Colonel Carter. You'll command the Retribution on its mission to find our children." John stood straighter. "Yes, sir." "Dr. Collins," the president continued, "you'll go as Chief Science Officer. Your knowledge of the Caldari is invaluable." Laura nodded. "I won't let you down." 5 years passed. The Earth fleet grew to 10 ships. Scientists studied every bit of Caldari technology left behind, adapting it for human use. Laura made a breakthrough by identifying unique elements in the trace radiation from the Caldari ship's engines. They could track them across space. Colonel John Carter stood on the bridge of the Retribution, looking at his crew. They were the best Earth had to offer. Soldiers, scientists, and parents of the missing children. "Today we begin our mission," John announced to his crew. "We will find our children. We will bring them home. And we will show these aliens that taking Earth's children was the biggest mistake they ever made." The massive engines of the Retribution roared to life. Earth's first warship moved away from its hiding place and set course for the stars, following the faint trail left by the Caldari ship 5 years earlier. The hunt had begun. The UES Retribution moved through space for 3 weeks. The ship was huge, nearly a mile long, with powerful engines that let it travel faster than light. The crew of 200 worked day and night, following the faint trail left by the Caldari ship. Colonel John Carter stood on the bridge, looking at the stars. They were far from Earth now, in a part of space humans had never seen before. Laura Collins worked at a nearby station, checking data on the Keldari Trail. "Colonel," she called, "I'm picking up signals ahead. It looks like some kind of space station." The main screen showed a large structure floating in space. It was shaped like a wheel with many ships coming and going. "A trading post," John said, "just like in the old sci-fi movies." He turned to his crew. "Prepare a small team. We're going to see if anyone there knows about the Keldari or the Hexarchy." John, Laura, and 4 soldiers took a small shuttle to the station. They wore simple clothes to blend in. The station was full of different alien species. Some had 4 arms. Others looked like walking plants. None of them seemed surprised to see humans. "Stay close," John told his team. "Don't start any fights." They found a busy area with many small shops and food stands. Aliens of all kinds were trading goods and talking in strange languages. John's team had translator devices that Laura had made based on Keldari technology. A voice called out in English, "Well, I'll be damned. More humans." They turned to see a man with a gray beard sitting at a small table. He looked human but had strange markings on his face. "Who are you?" John asked. "Name's Greg Henderson. Been out here 40 years. Got picked up by a survey ship back in '52. I was the only human in this part of space until those Keldari bastards came through with their cargo." John's heart beat faster. "You saw the Keldari with human children?" Greg nodded. "About 5 years ago, they were headed to Nexus Station, the big Hexarchy outpost." "Tell us everything you know about the Hexarchy," Laura said. Greg took a drink from a strange cup. "The Hexarchy is a group of 6 powerful alien species that control this part of space. They think they own everything and everyone. The Keldari are just one of the 6. And they took our children," John said. "Do you know why?" "Word is they were interested in human adaptability. See, humans are considered primitive out here, but also unpredictable. Dangerous. We can survive in conditions that would kill most aliens. We heal faster, learn faster." Laura leaned forward. "Where is this Nexus Station?" Greg gave them the location. It was still a month's journey away, even with their fast ship. Before they left, Greg warned them. "The Hexarchy doesn't like trouble, and humans are trouble. Be careful." Back on the Retribution, John briefed his crew. They set course for Nexus Station, pushing the engines to their limits. When they arrived, they saw a massive space station floating near a red giant star. It was 10 times bigger than the trading post. Hundreds of ships moved around it. "We can't just fly up in an Earth ship," John said. "We need to sneak in." They captured a small cargo ship and used it to approach the station. John, Laura, and a team of 10 soldiers boarded the station dressed as traders. The station was a maze of levels and corridors. Using stolen security codes, they accessed the station's computers. Laura found records showing that some of the human children had been kept here for study. "Most were sent to different Hexarchy worlds," she said, "but one is still here, in Research Section 12. They fought their way past guards to reach the research area. Inside a locked room, they found a girl. She looked about 12 years old with blonde hair. It was Samantha Miller, one of the children taken 5 years ago. When she saw them, her eyes went wide. "You came," she whispered. "You actually came for us." John knelt beside her. "We promised we would. We're taking you home." Samantha shook her head. "I'm not the same anymore. None of us are. They changed us." She held up her hand, and a small object on the table floated into the air without her touching it. "What did they do to you?" Laura asked in shock. "They didn't know humans could adapt this way," Samantha said. "It scared them. That's why they split us up. They're afraid of what we might become." Alarms blared throughout Nexus Station. John helped Samantha to her feet while Laura checked the corridor outside. "We need to move now," Laura said. "Security forces are coming." They ran through the station, Samantha keeping up despite her years in captivity. When they reached a locked door, Samantha simply waved her hand and it opened. "How did you do that?" John asked. I can feel the machines now, she said. It's hard to explain. They made it back to their stolen ship. As they prepared to leave, a larger vessel approached. It wasn't a Hexarchy design. Unknown ship, identify yourself, John said over the comm. The reply came in slightly broken English. We are Vashrati. We have watched you free the human child. We wish to help. Laura looked at their scans. The ship is filled with insect-like life forms. I don't recognize the species. It could be a trap, one of the soldiers said. Samantha shook her head. The Vashrati are slaves to the Hexarchy. They won't hurt us. They allowed the Vashrati ship to escort them away from Nexus Station. Once safely away, a Vashrati delegation boarded the Retribution. Their leader was a 7-foot-tall insect with 4 arms and compound eyes. I am General Till, the alien said, voice clicking. The Hexarchy has oppressed my people for centuries. In the ship's meeting room, Samantha told them what had happened to the human children. They separated us, she said. 5 children to each Hexarchy world. They wanted to study how we adapt to different environments. Why take children? John asked. Why not adults? Kittil made a strange gesture with his upper arms. Taking children is forbidden by galactic law. Children adapt faster than adults. But the Hexarchy believe humans too primitive to retaliate. They were wrong, Laura said. Till clicked his mandibles. Very wrong. No species has ever pursued their taken young across such distances. It is impressive. Samantha continued her story. The experiments were hard at first, but then strange things started happening. We began to change. The children developed abilities. Kittil explained. Mental powers, enhanced learning. Some developed physical changes to survive on different worlds. The Hexarchy became afraid, Samantha added. They had never seen a species adapt so quickly. They think we're dangerous now. John looked at the star maps Kittil provided. So the other children are on 6 different planets. 5 planets, Kittil corrected. 1 for each Hexarchy species. The Keldari homeworld has 15 of your children. Laura studied the data. Can your people help us reach these worlds? We will help, Kittil said. Many slave species would join you against the Hexarchy. Your rescue mission could become a liberation movement. John thought about this. His orders were to bring the children home, not start a galactic revolution. But they needed allies. If we help free your people, will you help us save our children? John asked. Yes, Kittil said. The Hexarchy's power is built on fear. If the humans show they are not afraid, others will join your cause. They formed a plan. The Earth fleet would split up. Each ship would target a different Hexarchy world. John would lead the mission to the Keldari homeworld with the Retribution. Before they departed, Samantha spoke to the crew. The other children, she said, they've all changed like me. Some can move things with their minds. Others can heal quickly or learn languages instantly. The Hexarchy doesn't understand what they created when they took us. John placed a hand on her shoulder. Will you help us find them? Samantha nodded. They're my friends. My family now. We can feel each other across space. I can help you find them. As the Earth ships prepared to go their separate ways, John addressed the combined human and Vashrati forces. Today we fight not just for Earth's children, but for freedom from the Hexarchy. They took our children thinking we were too weak to fight back. They're about to learn how wrong they were. The fleet separated, each ship heading toward a different Hexarchy world. The Retribution, accompanied by 3 Vashrati vessels, set course for the Keldari homeworld. The rescue mission had become a war of liberation. The Keldari homeworld looked beautiful from space. It had blue oceans and green continents, much like Earth. But John knew that its beauty hid something ugly, human children being held against their will. Our scans show the research facility is on the smaller continent, Laura said, pointing to the map. It's heavily guarded. Samantha closed her eyes. They're there. I can feel them. 15 of them, just like Kittil said. The plan was simple but dangerous. While the Vashrati ships created a distraction in orbit, the Retribution would land a small team near the facility. John would lead the rescue mission personally. "Remember," John told his team as they prepared, "these children have been captives for 5 years. They might be scared or changed. Be gentle." The team wore armor and carried weapons, but their orders were to avoid killing when possible. This was a rescue mission, not a massacre. When the Vashrati began their attack, alarms sounded across the Keldari world. John's team landed their shuttle in the forest near the facility. 20 soldiers, plus John, Laura, and Samantha, moved quickly through the trees. "The main entrance has too many guards," John said, studying the building through binoculars. "We need another way in." Samantha pointed to a small door on the side. "That's a service entrance. I can feel the lock mechanism. I can open it." They moved to the door. Samantha placed her hand near it, not touching it. After a moment, the door slid open. Inside, they moved quietly through the halls. When Keldari guards appeared, the soldiers used stun weapons to knock them out. Samantha led them to a large room with clear walls. Inside, they saw children. The human children looked different. Some were taller than normal for their age. Others had strange markings on their skin. All of them looked up as John's team entered, as if they had been expecting them. "We're from Earth," John said. "We've come to take you home." A boy about 14 years old stepped forward. "We knew you would come someday. We could feel it." Laura worked quickly to open the cells. As each child was freed, John noticed how they moved. They were confident, not scared. Their eyes looked older than their years. Suddenly, a door opened and a group of Keldari soldiers rushed in. Their leader was larger than the others, with bright red scales. "Sub-Commander Vrexthar," one of the freed children said. "He's in charge of this facility." Vrexthar hissed in surprise. "Humans. Here. Impossible." John raised his weapon. "Step aside. We're taking these children home." "You don't understand what you're interfering with," Vrexthar said. "These specimens are critical to our research." "They're not specimens. They're our children," John replied. The Keldari raised their weapons, but before they could fire, strange things began to happen. Their guns floated out of their hands. The lights flickered. Some of the Keldari fell to their knees, holding their heads as if in pain. John looked at the children. They were standing in a circle, hands linked, eyes closed in concentration. "We learned to work together," the 14-year-old boy explained. "When we combine our abilities, we can do more." The Keldari soldiers retreated, all except Vrexthar. John's soldiers quickly surrounded him. "You're coming with us," John said. "We have questions." As they made their way back to the shuttle, alarms blared throughout the facility. More Keldari would be coming soon. "Let me help," said a small girl with dark hair. She placed her hands on the wall, and suddenly all the alarms stopped. "How did you do that?" Laura asked. "I can talk to computers now," the girl said simply. "The Keldari taught me, but they didn't know I would use it against them." They reached the shuttle without further resistance. As they took off, John looked at the children they had rescued. They were watching the Keldari world fall away through the windows, their faces showing no sadness at leaving. On the Retribution, they put Vrexthar in a secure room. John and Laura questioned him while the ship prepared to leave the system. "Why did the Hexarchy take our children?" John demanded. Vrexthar's scales rippled with what might have been fear. "To study human adaptability. But we didn't know. We didn't understand what would happen." "What didn't you understand?" Laura asked. "How quickly they would change. How powerful they would become. It was just supposed to be an experiment. Now," he looked at the children watching from behind a window. "Now I fear we've created our own destruction." News of the rescue spread quickly across Hexarchy space. The Retribution received messages from the other Earth ships. All but one had successfully rescued their groups of children. In total, 47 of the 50 children were now safe. The Hexarchy responded with rage. A massive fleet gathered, larger than anything the Vashrati had ever seen. Hundreds of warships from all 6 Hexarchy species prepared to hunt down the humans and their allies. On the Retribution, John met with General Catil and the other Earth ship captains via video link. The situation was serious. "The Hexarchy has declared total war," Catil said. "They are calling all their forces to crush us. We still need to find the last 3 children." John reminded everyone, "We can't leave without them." Captain Susan Lee of the UES Defiant spoke up. "Our intelligence suggests they're being held on the Hexarchy capital station. That's where their Supreme General is based." "Then that's where we go," John said. It was a bold plan. While the main fleet created a diversion, the Retribution would approach the Hexarchy capital station under the cover of a stolen Keldari identification code. John would attempt to negotiate with the Hexarchy leadership while a small team searched for the remaining children. 2 days later, the Retribution approached the massive Hexarchy station. It was bigger than a small moon, with ships constantly coming and going. "They're accepting our fake ID," Laura said with surprise. "We're being granted access to dock." "They're overconfident," Samantha said. "They still don't understand what they're dealing with." John prepared to meet with the Hexarchy leadership. He wore his formal uniform, with Laura and 2 soldiers as his escort. Samantha and 5 other rescued children insisted on coming too. "We can protect you better than any soldiers," Samantha said. John didn't argue. The Hexarchy meeting chamber was huge, with representatives from all 6 species sitting in raised seats around the room. In the center, on a large throne-like chair, sat Supreme General Dozak Null. He was from a species they hadn't seen before, tall and thin with gray skin and 4 eyes. "Colonel John Carter of Earth," Dozak Null said. His voice was deep and echoed in the chamber. "You have caused quite a problem for the Hexarchy." "You caused the problem when you took our children," John replied. Dozak Null leaned forward. "A simple experiment. We did not expect you to cross half the galaxy to find them. Then you don't understand humans very well." The Supreme General studied the children standing with John. "And you've actually recovered them. Most impressive." "Not all of them," John said. "You still have 3. I want them returned now, along with safe passage home for all our ships." "Or what?" Dozak Null asked with something like amusement in his voice. "Or we continue this war until we get them back." The chamber filled with laughter from the various Hexarchy representatives. They clearly didn't see humans as a real threat. Suddenly, a side door opened. 3 human children were brought in, surrounded by guards. They looked tired but unharmed. "You see, your precious offspring are safe," Dozak Null said. "But they will remain with us. And so will you. Did you really think we would let you dock at our station if we didn't plan to capture you?" Guards moved to surround John's group. But the children didn't look worried. Instead, they began to smile. The 3 newly arrived children broke free from their guards and ran to join the others. "What is happening?" Dozak Null demanded as his guards suddenly dropped their weapons. The 8 children joined hands. The lights in the chamber flickered. Strange energy seemed to flow between them. Dozak Null stood up, his 4 eyes wide with shock. "You took their children," he whispered. "You've doomed us all." "What are you talking about?" John asked. "There is an ancient prophecy," Dozak Null said, his voice shaking. "It speaks of a species that would cross the stars to reclaim their young. A species whose offspring would evolve beyond their parents. They are called the Reclaimers, and their coming marks the end of the old order." The children's eyes glowed with strange light. Samantha spoke, but her voice sounded different, as if many voices were speaking together. "We want to go home," she said, "and you will let us." The Hexarchy Council chamber fell silent. Outside, alarms began to sound. On screens around the room, reports showed that the combined Earth and Vashrati fleet had engaged the Hexarchy forces. "Your fleet is outnumbered 10 to 1, Dozak Null said, regaining his composure. This station alone has enough firepower to destroy all your ships. John looked at the children. They stood together, calm and united. I don't think numbers are going to matter much today, he said. Samantha stepped forward, still holding hands with the other children. We can feel all the others across space. They're ready. Ready for what? Laura asked. To show what we've become, Samantha replied. On the main view screen, the battle unfolded. The Hexarchy ships moved to surround the Earth fleet. But something strange was happening. Many of the Hexarchy ships suddenly stopped firing. Some began to drift aimlessly. Others turned their weapons on fellow Hexarchy vessels. What is this? Dozak Null demanded. What are they doing to our ships? The other children, John realized. They're on our ships, and they're affecting your fleet somehow. Samantha nodded. We learned to connect with your technology. The Keldari taught us how your ships work, how your weapons function. They didn't know we were learning to control them. Reports flooded in from across the Hexarchy fleet. Systems were failing. Navigation was compromised. Weapons wouldn't fire. And on each Earth ship, the rescued children were working together, their minds reaching out across space. Impossible, one of the Hexarchy Council members said. No species has this ability. You made us this way, said one of the boys standing with Samantha. You took us from our homes. You experimented on us. You changed us. And now we're changing the rules, added another child. On the screen, two of the Hexarchy member species ships were breaking formation, moving away from the battle. The Zelvar and Praxi forces are retreating. Till reported over the communication system. They're refusing to fight. Dozak Null looked at the children with a mixture of fear and awe. The prophecy said this day would come. The old powers would fall, and a new order would rise. John stepped forward. We didn't come here for prophecies or to overthrow your civilization. We came for our children, nothing more. But it is too late, Dozak Null said. You have shown the galaxy that the Hexarchy can be defeated. The Vashrati will not be the only slaves to rebel now. Then maybe it's time for something better than the Hexarchy, Laura suggested. Something based on cooperation instead of control. The battle outside was ending. The remaining Hexarchy ships were standing down. Victory messages came in from the Earth fleet captains. They had won with minimal losses. What happens now? Dozak Null asked. John looked at the children, then back at the Supreme General. Now we go home. But first, we establish some new rules. No more taking children from any species. No more slavery. The Hexarchy becomes a true alliance of equals, or it ends today. 1 month later, the Earth fleet prepared to return home. Representatives from 30 different species came to see them off. Many former Hexarchy slave races had gained their freedom. 2 Hexarchy member races had collapsed into civil war. The galaxy was changing rapidly. On the bridge of the Retribution, John looked at the children. They had chosen to stand together as a group. Are you sure about this? He asked Samantha. She nodded. Some of us want to go back to Earth. Others want to stay and help build something new here. The Hexarchy took us, but they also gave us a connection to the stars. And we can help make sure no one else's children are ever taken, added another child. Laura joined them. We'll establish regular communication. Earth will send teachers, diplomats, scientists. We've opened a door that can't be closed. As the fleet prepared to jump to light speed, John thought about the long journey ahead. They had come to rescue 50 children. They were returning with much more. New allies, new technology, and humanity's place among the stars. The Hexarchy had taken Earth's children, thinking humans were too primitive to fight back. Instead, they had awakened a power they couldn't control and fulfilled an ancient prophecy they had hoped to prevent. Never separate humans from their children. It only makes them stronger. And now the galaxy knew it too.